Okay, so we have with us, first of all, into the chase, is Mr. Joshua Carroll Walden. Congratulations on getting into the chase, first of all.
Thank you very much, Carl.
How did you feel when you saw your name in there?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a bit of a wait to be honest, because I knew I had to finish well last race at Daytona to get in there, but yeah, just drove my heart out to Daytona, and then it was nervous a few days wait, but yeah, it was definitely big relief to get in the chase because yeah, that was one of my goals set out for myself at the start of the year. Just yeah, get into my first chase.
Yeah, you missed out by one position last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I was basically best of the rest last year.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, look, strong year for you last year. Of course, you had an absolute standout year this year. Last year, this year, it's maybe not been your strongest, but you've had very good consistency throughout the year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I haven't had any wins yet or any standout performances yet. So yeah, like that part's a little bit disappointing. But I'm pretty glad how I've just been consistently able to churn out top tens, top 15s, which is what you need to do to get into the chase in the first place. But yeah, like now that I'm in the chase, the bar's been raised, and there's each all 11 of us have made it super talented. So yeah, it's gonna be the most hard fought chase we've seen, I think.
That's it. It's going to be fantastic to watch. And just a quick question: like, what got you into racing? What got you into iracing? What got you into motorsport? What got you into oval racing?
Well, getting into racing first off, I think I just grew up with racing in household. Like I watched V8 supercars back in the day. Well, the Shell Championship Series, I think it was known back then, back in my time. When I was a little toddler
Showing your age
with
now.
my parents. Then yeah, basically just stuck with V8s and just branched out through the V8 Supercars 2, V8 Supercars 3 series. That really expanded my worldview. And that kind of just started me on the path to iRacing. I was looking at these YouTube clips and like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'll give it a go. And yeah, I'm still here 6, 7 years later. And yeah, me getting into stock car racing. It's kind of a two-pronged thing. Like, first off, my hero, Marcus Ambrose, going over to the States to pursue a career in NASCAR, definitely did, perk my interest. But also as well, adjacent to that, I was in, I think, Coles or Woolies with my mum one day, when I was about 10, and I saw EA Sports NASCAR 2007 game on the shelf, and I asked my mum if she could buy that for me, and yeah, she bought it for me, and yeah, that's how I basically got into stock car racing. Really, got to know all the big personalities from the late 2000s, and all the teams, all the tracks, and yeah, it's just all snowballed into what I'm doing today.
Look, that's generally how the passion starts when we're a kid. We can find that one thing and then we cling to it. Last quick question, getting into the chase, of course, what do you think is going to be your strongest race?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I definitely do have to circle Richmond, the second race, as probably going to be one of my strongest races. Last year I did get a Grand Slam performance there. Pole, fast lap, led every lap, won the race. So that's probably going to be my strongest. But I feel like I can be very strong around Talladega as well. I feel like I've got a really, really good understanding and grasp around this current super speedway package.
No, look, we'll keep an eye out for you on those tracks. We, of course, hope to get you back in the booth and get you up throughout the chase. Hopefully we'll get you up for a chat after the races. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and giving us a little bit of a look at Mr. Joshua Carroll-Walden. It's been a pleasure, and good luck for tonight's race.
And so there you have it, a insight into the world of Joshua Carroll-Walden, one of our participants tonight in the chase, and he will be doing everything he can to join us here at the end of the evening. Carl, good evening as well. Exciting times. We're into the power part of the season tonight with the first round of the chase to head towards the end of season 2021.
Yeah, hello Stuart. Hello everybody. We're in the tail end of the season now. We are in the chase, and this is where it all heats up. Of course, this is where the dreams are made and the dreams disappear. A bad result in the first race of the chase is not always a bad thing. We saw Foster having a terrible time last season and then taking the championship in the end. But you generally want to start off on a strong foot. And don't forget, this is the throwback round. This is part of the Grand Slam. So if Mr. Mickey Skurlock can actually manage to repeat his actions at Darlington earlier in the year and get another victory, then he is going to be in for a fantastic prize. So there is a lot to play for tonight, not just for the chase itself, but a few other things in there as well.
And of course, we're here last night with the Xfinity Series and saw that there can be a proclivity for cautions, breeding cautions here with the banking and the way this track operates. What do you think we're going to see here tonight?
Cautions are going to be coming tonight. We're going to see a couple of them for sure. It's one of those tracks that is very tricky. It's one of those tracks that does throw you out quite a lot. I'll sort of go over a little bit more about later in the race, but these cars just don't seem to be handling that great tonight as well. They're struggling with being tight and loose at the same time. They'll be tight in one corner and loose in another, and in sort of old-fashioned motorsport terms or other series motorsport terms, oversteer and understeer. That's what we're talking about. So they get real tail happy, and then all of a sudden they will get really stiff on the front and just not want to turn at all. And you get that all throughout the lap here. You'll have multiple different issues going through each of the corners. There's only 4 corners on this track, of course, but all 4 of them are very, very different.
Well, of course, that brings to an end the small warm-up session that we have. We're about to head out onto the grid as it sorts itself out. 160 laps here tonight, if you don't mind. We're in for a full session tonight, Carl, that is for sure. As we're just waiting for everyone to jump onto the grid and get this race underway behind the pace car. Be a little bit of a challenge tonight. If you're looking out for your favourite livery, then you'll have to keep an eye out for your favourite number. As Carl mentioned there, it's a throwback round, so a lot of the drivers running some of their favourite liveries of the drivers they admire the most. We heard JCW there talking about Marcus Ambrose. His livery is based on that livery that Marcus Ambrose ran in the season he was over, or the few seasons he was over in NASCAR. But let's very quickly go through the grid. You can see it on the screen there on the left-hand side. So it is Pearson and Martin off the front row. In fact, we should bring up the proper thing there. There we go. It finally wanted to come in. So Neil Pearson, Jason Martin up on the front row with Andrew Dyson and Michael Skurlock off row 2. Then it's JCW and Phil Worley off row 3 with Hamish Gallagher and Jaden Russell off 4. Then it's Brenton Hobson and Edward Foster off row 5 with Damon Stockton and Riley Curtis off row 6. As we scroll over the page, it's Jaeger and Neil, followed by Micklemore and Danny G. Look out for them coming through the pack with Ryan Jones and Justin Witcher following behind. Then it's Daniel Hedersheed and Aidan Schultz with Ruben Phelps, his teammate, and Matty Raymond close behind. And then Luke Traher and Stevie Dubb as we head over. And it is Scott Griffiths, Lachlan Urquio, Norman Clark, Phil Otto, Paul Jackson, and rounding out our 30 runners tonight is the Double D, Dave Douglas.
Yeah, of course. Drivers locked in to the chase is Josh Micklemore, Neil Pearson, Hamish Gallagher, Michael Skurlock, Jason Martin, Edward Foster, Andrew Dyson, Danny G, Luke Traher, Joshua Carroll-Walden, and Maddie Raymond as well. Both of those sharing the top 10 spot.
Very, very good.
So as we come around the final set of corners, Neil Pearson is going to be leading away. This is exactly the start to the chase you will have wanted, but you can't win anything from pole position. You've got to do it at the end of the race. The lights will go green and Neil Pearson will lead us array for the first round of the ANZCAR Cup Chase Series. Pearson gets a good start behind him. Andrew Dyson gets very tail happy there. The car already loose on those cold tyres. He's going to get passed by Jason Martin. Martin up into second. Dyson dropping down. Skurlock just behind him with Joshua Carroll Walden and Philip Worley there. Hamish Gallagher just backing him up a little bit too. All of them getting away cleanly. Everybody's sitting in a single line at the moment. No point going too hard, too fast. You will burn those tyres off quickly here. If you try to run side by side, you will cause yourself problems as well.
Yeah, we saw last night, time management very important as always, but just how easy it was to drop 3 or 4 positions as well. So the guys will be aware of that. A couple of guys running here tonight ran last night too, so they'll be looking to try and optimise things for themselves. Make sure they get through nice and cleanly at the start here. We didn't see too many cars last night, Carl, did we, with clean finishes on them at the end of the race?
A lot of people earning their Darlington stripes last night, and I think we're going to see a fair few more tonight as well. That's just giving that barrier a little bit of a kiss, just that gentle nudge. We can say it's a little bit like Monaco with the old Formula One cars. You know, if you're not just giving that barrier a kiss now and again, then you're not trying hard enough. Just want to give it that little touch just to show it that it's still there, just to remind the barrier that it's still ready to go. Yeah, they will be getting close up there, and it does get very tricky.
So just sorry, go, Carl.
So Pearson in the lead at the moment. You can see Martin just closing up a little bit behind him right now. He's just not... Pearson's just sort of lost a little bit of time. He had a bigger gap between himself and Martin before, but not a bad place to be at the moment. A tricky place to pass as well. That's one of the big things about Darlington.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll have to bear that in mind. We saw a little bit of strategy coming into it last night in terms of pit lane and what happened there. A couple of drivers trying out the 2-tyre only stop during one of our cautions to make way. It didn't quite work out, so we'll see whether or not anyone does that here tonight as well. And of course, keep one eye, everyone, on Michael Skurlock in the 350. He's currently sitting in 4th position. Our front 7 runners retaining the position they started in, but he is going to be looking to make a run for the win here tonight to take out the Grand Slam.
It, and he knows you can't win this race too early on, but you can sure as heck lose it. So he's just sitting back there a little bit, holding position at the moment. He's in a good spot. He's in the top 5 as it stands, so he's just not going to try anything too severe at the moment. Just see how this race pans out. And a lot of these drivers are just going to be seeing how it goes at the moment. Early cautions could give them the idea of possibly coming in for a relatively early stop, getting some fresh tyres quickly. You can see Skurlock actually trying to make a bit of a move on Andrew Dyson now. He was thinking about it. He decided better of it because he had JCW right behind him. So the problem is when you make a move here and go to that inside line, sometimes it can catch you out. Skurlock getting very close to the back of Dyson there. Again, just has to tuck back up, not going below the apron. The banking here is quite steep, especially in turns 1 and 2. It's a little bit shallower as we got contact behind. Oh, who was that? I think Damon Stockton and the 28 of Jaden Russell making contact.
Yeah, I think you might be right there that it was Stockton. He just dropped a little bit.
Yeah, Stockton just got caught up. He's managed to get his Darlington stripe already. He just got caught right up on the very top of the corner. As we got cars around and the caution out, we got person on their roof as well.
Yeah, the 22 there on his roof, Barry Neal. Unfortunate for him. Looks like Matty Ray was involved in that one, as well as Lachlan Urquio. So we've got our first caution of the evening. Josh Micklemore, Danny G as well. So a couple of big scalps there. Let's just jump back and have a quick look at it.
A real big shame there for Neil. Beautiful livery on that car. Just trying to see exactly what happened there. They were running 3 wide for a moment, and it looks like himself and Heddershade have made contact. And huge incident, and that's absolutely ruined that car of Neil, unfortunately. He was running the Toyota Swift of Jos Verstappen from back in 1993. So the older Verstappen that did not win many F1 races, or any in fact, but he did win many junior formulas. So a shame to see that car out already.
Yeah, absolutely. A big incident there at the start of this race. Only 9 laps in. So disappointment there for a number of the drivers, including Josh Micklemore as well. Been a strong...
Luke Traher got caught up in that one as well. A very, very heavy impact for the front of his car, and that's not great. So yeah, Micklemore got away with it a little bit better. He's got some back end damage. He's got some pretty nasty back end damage, but it might be worse for Luke Traher, who's probably got some engine damage as well. So he's going to be in for a long repair, I'd imagine. This is going to be disastrous for him. And of course, those two in the chase, Traher and Micklemore. So neither of those will have wanted that to happen. The old Days of Thunder moment did not happen for Josh Micklemore, unfortunately. He did not manage to get straight through the middle of that wreck.
No, not at all. So number of the drivers choosing to pit, but mainly those who were involved in the incident. We saw Josh Micklemore come back from 2 laps down last night after an early incident, but he had less damage on the 31 then, so it's going to be a tougher assignment for him tonight. And for the regular season champion, not the start that he would have wanted at all.
Oh, very much so. Another driver involved in that in the chase is Matty Ray. He got caught up in the Lightning McQueen entry and just got tapped on the front, so he's got some minor damage. It's not too bad actually by the looks of things, so he should hopefully be somewhat okay, but that car is not going to be clean tonight, unfortunately. He's already got a few scrapes and scratches on that one.
Yeah, indeed. Lightning McQueen livery, that's a good one. A couple of the liveries to have a look at here. Let's just see where everyone's running. Of course, Jason Martin has jumped on board with a livery that most people would be familiar with.
Oh yes, I have been waiting for a moment. See, we got a caution. I can talk about this now. So he's running the classic McLaren F1 livery, the Marlboro McLaren sponsorship, of course, which was actually a partnership that also had some support from Penske. Now, this would be the era in which Ayrton Senna was driving, of course. And the Marlboro sponsorship allowed Mr. Senna to go over and test drive for Team Penske for their kart car, the PC21 Chevrolet, which of course Martin is driving a Chevy tonight. So we've got a little bit of a link there. It's tenuous, I know, but I needed to be able to talk about this. Of course, the PC21 Chevy that Senna drove actually sat in the lockup of the Poole branch of Penske back in the early 2000s and was worked on by one person in this commentary box.
And that wasn't me, so I'll just let you know that. Yeah, plenty of history in that team, there's no question at all of that. So,
and of course, the last win for a Marlboro McLaren was back in '94 with the Ford engine, of course, in Adelaide.
Yeah, right, of course. That was the last race for Ayrton Senna in that car.
It was indeed the last one for him in McLaren, the last Ford McLaren, and the last victory for Marlboro McLaren, unfortunately. So a lot of last in that one.
And for Ayrton Senna as well, of course.
Unfortunately, yes.
Very much so. So anyway, so that's just one of the liveries. Having a little bit of a look further back, we've got Edward Foster there on the outside. He's taken some inspiration from the old Cannon liveries, so he's dressed the 53 up in yellow. Looks very good, if you don't mind. I love a good yellow car. Speaking of yellow mellow right behind him.
Yeah, so he's running the Sterling Marlin looked car, and of course the mellow yellow, of course, it's Cole Trickle, Days of Thunder, but Kyle Petty as well. So really, really cool.
And we're going
and
green.
We are back to green flag racing. Neil Pearson getting it away very well. And yeah, 93, sorry, not 94.
No, you're right. We knew where you were talking about there. So there's a big group here just in the background. Jason Martin looks like he got held up there or caught up in the wall, potentially a little high. And the 41, Andrew Dyson's making the move there. Skirley's just lurking in the background here, just keeping an eye on things, of course, as well. Doesn't want to get involved too much in anyone else's incident at all, as he tries to duck down to the inside there. And so Jason Martin drops a position to Andrew Dyson. So it's a DPR 1-2 at the moment. Pearson Dyson running at the front, and then you can see there we've got a big train. There's plenty of time left in this one. It's only 14 laps through 160.
Yeah, it's a long old race, and those guys that got damaged, it's still not the end for them. They're still with a shout, but a lot of drivers are going to struggle. People like Josh Micklemore at the moment, he's still in pit lane getting repairs done. Luke Trahare's just managed to get back out. Lots of damage, but he's dropped 4 laps down. So quite a few drivers, some big names in that as well, and that's really going to affect them. They're going to hope that some of their competitors don't make it to the end and they can actually gain a few spots.
Yeah, absolutely they will be. So it's all about race management from here. Such a long time in these cars, so they've got plenty of opportunity. Let's jump back and have a look at Jaden Russell here. He's got Ruben Phelps putting some pressure on him, and Stockton just in front. So it's about 2/3 of the way down through this lead pack. And it's spanning about 2 seconds now, so the front sort of half a dozen cars are starting to open up a gap on this group. We can look a little bit further down. Matty Ray, as you said, back out on track. He's made up a position on 2, and he's got Scott Griffiths and Lachlan Urquio behind him, so they're trying to make it count. Look at the damage there on the back of Scott Griffiths' number 5 entry. That is very, very second-hand looking. And Ryan Jones all the way down there as well. In fact, he is unlapping himself.
Yeah, Ryan Jones had an issue at the start, I think some kind of connectivity issue, I think. So, unfortunately, that saw him way out there in the beautiful Busch M&M car as well. It's a shame to see him out so early, but he is out there lapping his way in there. Of course, one of the other things these drivers want to do is they want to be locked in for the Daytona 500 race, of course, top 20 in the championship, who will get locked in for that next season. So there is stuff to play for, even for the drivers not locked into the chase, of course. So the regular season contenders, that top 20 positions are still very much places where they want to finish. So they are going to be fighting it out for that, trying to get themselves locked in to the start of the season, so they know, at least know they have one less thing to worry about.
When does that race happens? Is it February next year?
I think so, yes. Philip Worley just up in the wall, just getting himself a little bit of a stripe. That's going to give Jason Martin a chance to get back at him. Martin dropping a fair few positions from that restart. So he dropped down to P5 at the moment. So he's dropped a handful of positions. He was up there battling it away with Neil Pearson. Neil Pearson in a great position at the moment. He has got teammates all behind him at the moment, other than Mr. Skurlock. So Skurly in a bit of a DPR double-decker sandwich.
I feel like we've said that before this season.
There tends to be a couple of DPR cars out there. It's usually the case, but they have been doing a fantastic job, especially the likes of Andrew Dyson and Philip Worley. Just being mentions on the ovals, they've been improving hand over fist and really, really getting to grips with the whole turning left thing. And it's been great to watch them actually coming up there and improving throughout the season. And of course, Daiso is in the chase, but Worley is there as a bit of a rear gunner at the moment, and that's going to be his job in the chase, of course, is to try and help his teammates out. Meanwhile, Brenton Hobson making a move on Joshua Carroll. Walden getting down the inside at the moment through the first couple of corners. He's going to make the move stick on JCW. Hobson getting up there. Hobbo doing a great job in his second cup race, I think this is now.
Yeah, I think it would be his second, so just getting used to turning left. I say getting used to. He's had some really good performances in the Xfinity series, so it's hardly getting used to, but he is doing good so far, up 2 positions into P7.
Yes, he's doing a great job. A really, really nice run up there at the moment. So, and it's great to see as well. Good to see Hobbo in that car in the cup, because as you said, in the Xfinity car he has been having some great races, so making the step up into the cup, using the series ladder as it is best to use it, and doing a good job with it. As Jason Martin just drops back behind Hamish Gallagher, I think. So Jason Martin just dropping back a little bit now, so looks like Martin might just be...
Skurly, sorry, he got real loose there. He's still on the inside. As
they just go around Josh Micklemore, actually. So they're sort of free wide for a moment there, going around Josh Micklemore. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with why Scully got wide. I don't think it did. No, Scully just got up into the marbles just on the edge of the wall, and that caused a big tank slapper for him. And then he had those dirty little bits of rubber on his car, and that's caused him to have some issues.
You know, he'd be glad that it didn't turn out any worse than that. That is for sure.
Yeah, that was a very scary moment, and that's something we saw last night in the Xfinity as well, of course, of the little bits of marbles up the top of the track. Once you get up there, it's very hard to get them off your car. Your car will struggle all night long and just start to it just takes about 5 or 6 laps to actually clean them off and actually get them working. Meanwhile, Phil Otto has just done exactly the same thing, and he's just plummeting back to the back of the field like a rock at the moment in the number one. Oh, big hip check there between himself and I think
Daniel
that was Hedersheed. Yeah. It's a big moment there. Just
getting up into him there, but there's only so much room on the track. Couldn't do much about that one. Let's have a look here at Aidan Schultz. So he starting to put pressure on Justin, which you can see there. Oh, again, Norm Clark just up in the side there. He's got the Lotus-inspired livery on the 09 entry this evening.
Yeah, very classic team Lotus. Of course, the old Lotus Cortina, famously driven by one Mr. Clark of Scotland, and he drove it very well indeed.
He did. So,
very talented driver, that guy. He won on multiple different areas and multiple different things. Rallying, oval racing, Formula One, you name it, he could do it.
There's some people that just have that ability. Just having a look at Matty Ray here. He's making good progress back up through the field despite the damage on the back of the 83. So he's currently back up into 15th position. So up 7 places from his qualifying spot despite being involved in that early incident.
Yeah, showing a really good turn of pace, Matty Ray there, and he is flying back up through the field. He's gained 7 positions from his starting position, let alone the fact that he had to come in and get repairs done. So excuse me. He's doing a very good run at the moment. Just sitting behind Aidan Schultz, who has got some serious damage on that Aussie esports car, unfortunately, on the front left. Luckily on the front left, though, I'd say, so hopefully that shouldn't cause him too much issue, but it might just make it wear a little bit quicker, and that can throw the car a little bit off balance. It's all behind. Somebody's just had a big moment. I think it might have been Riley Curtis. Just having a bit of a look, sorry, there was a huge tailspin out there somewhere. So just seeing, I think it might have been Riley. Yeah, Riley Curtis having a huge moment off the corner. Just getting up a little bit too high, but he managed to save that one.
Luckily not to bring out a caution or damage the car at all. He gets back out and gets back on with it.
Yeah, they're doing good jobs out there at the moment. Meanwhile, Neil Pearson's doing a fantastic job. He's got a second over Andrew Dyson. So he's managed to pull out a nice big gap at the moment. Hamish Gallagher, the closest non-DPR car at the moment. Jason Martin working his way up there with Hamish, getting past Philip Worley. So Worley just dropping back a little bit. He's going to have Hobson all over the back of him shortly.
So I was just going to say, Carl, with the chase. So this is my first chase. What consistency obviously is. We've seen that throughout the season. That consistency is the big thing. What about during the chase here? Like, are you wanting to get outright a win, or is it more important to just make sure you're consistently inside the top 5 as we run towards, the tail end of the 10 rounds?
Well, if you can win every single race, then that's what you're going to do. But it's going to be consistently in the top 5 is what you're going to be aiming at. You're going to try. You want to get the most wins of anybody in that chase group effectively. You want to try and actually dominate that. So what the chase does is it puts everybody back to equal playing fields almost. They get 1 point separating them. So the top 10 get they get 10 points to separate them effectively. So Joshua Carroll Walden and Matty Raymond are 9 points off of 10 points off Josh Micklemore.
Right.
So Josh Mickelmore has a 10-point gap over those drivers. Now, that isn't a huge amount in NASCAR racing, but every point can count, as we saw, because Matty Ray and Joshua Carroll-Walden tied for position in points. And, you know, this is it. Every single point is going to count here. So consistency and also consistently getting those top fives is going to be an important thing here, because in the chase, you've only got 10 races. So it's effectively a 10-race sprint for the championship now.
Right, okay, so that makes sense. Okay, fair enough. And they did this because, if what I read is correct, is because a driver who had never won a race all season beat a driver who won most of the races all season to the championship because he had a few bad results.
Exactly. That was the main reason for the chase, is to stop drivers who pretty much get no wins winning championship. Although I think, I'm trying to think now, I'm pretty sure in the trucks, there was a truck driver that managed to win the chase through consistency alone. So it doesn't always work out like that. NASCAR tried to do it so that they could make it so you could only win by winning races. But I'm pretty sure in the truck series, there was a driver that managed to get the chase victory by just consistently being up there in the sort of top 5, top 3 positions, and he actually got his win via that way as well. So you can still do it by not winning a race in the chase, but it is a lot harder.
Well, only time will tell. We'll see how this one pans out, but good start from Neil Pearson. He'll be happy with this. He's got a clean car, teammate behind him. Hamish Gallagher and Jason Martin currently running in 3rd and 4th. So, and then it's another DPR entry in Philip Worley. So there's plenty to plan for strategically for these guys towards the end of the race if they can maintain this. 38 laps in. We have had one caution very early on, lap 12 that was. So lap 10, my apologies, that was. So the drivers looking, most of them didn't pit, so as you'd expect early on in the race. I'm assuming we're tyre set limited here tonight?
We are indeed, of course, the usual 4 sets of tyres for the drivers. So the starting set, and then you've got 3 to use throughout the race. So if we get a caution in the next 10 plus laps, those drivers will be coming in and strapping on a new pair of boots, because that's going to be the best way to do it. Just looking down the field, Michael Skurlock just dropping like a stone at the moment. He's in P11. P11, sorry. I just had to double check that because I thought he was quite far back. But yeah, he's just plummeting down the field at the moment, just sort of struggling. He might just be trying to extend his fuel stint a little bit, just in case we get a long green period, which could well happen. So he might just be looking at trying to extend the fuel stint a little bit, see what happens there.
Yeah, of course he did have that moment a little bit earlier on, so that may have just made him think about things a little bit.
Slowed him down a little bit and sort of made him just ease off a tiny bit. I doubt it. Racing drivers don't think like that. They just go full charge ahead. That's it. That's our best option. Looks like Head Sheet's actually coming into pit lane.
First of the drivers to jump in and have a pit stop.
Yeah, odd time to do it for him. I mean, just gonna look back and see if he had a big hit into the wall there. So I'd say he may have actually got a meatball for that. So he might have got a mechanical flag for that one, because he took a big heavy impact on that right front and he's come straight into pit lane. So either he felt a lot of damage on the car, or he got the old black and orange flag. Now we call it the meatball flag because that's what it kind of looks like. It's a black flag with an orange circle in the middle of it. The mechanical issue flag. So he might have even, with that hit, it's easy to pop a tyre off or something like that. So he could have got a puncture, something strange like that, and actually had to pit to get that car fixed. So that is disastrous for his race, because he is going to drop at least 2 laps.
You don't want to be pitting under green where you can avoid it, that is for sure.
No, it's just a drive-through for Hedashid, so he's hit his instant limit already. So That's even more dire. So you get 12 instant points for a race, and then you have to do a drive-through. And then if you hit 17 instant points, then that's it. Your car goes behind the wall. So every time you hit the wall, generally, if you hit it light enough, you'll get what's called a 0x, which means that it doesn't really count, but it's like a little bit of a finger wag saying, look, watch it, laddie-o, don't do it too often. If you get a 1x, generally that's you've hit the wall a little bit hard, or you've hit another car a little bit hard. And then they can build up from there. So obviously, if you slam into a car at full speed, that's going to be usually a 4x or four little penalty points, and those build up quite quickly. And it looks like Hedeshead's already built up to 11.
It's very early. It's something a lot of the drivers like to think about. Of course, it's a longer race here, 160 laps than last night, and with that damage earlier on as well. How does she get involved in that incident on lap 10?
Yes, he did. He got caught up in that one. So yeah, he got caught with Barry Neal, unfortunately. Just looking at our leader, he's taken a bit of a swipe. Neil Pearson has gone up into the wall and just hit that right front. So a little bit of damage on the bodywork there. It's just caved in over the right front wheel. So that's not what he wants in the Skittles DPR coloured cars. He's in the red Skittle at the moment. But it's not going to help him out at all. Obviously, damage isn't too bad around here. It's only just over a 2 kilometre track, but every little bit of damage does hurt you, so it's not the best thing to happen. The only saving grace is he's got Andrew Dyson sitting behind him at the moment, and he might be able to help him a little bit, keep Hamish Gallagher there from getting the position.
Jump on board with Hamish Gallagher now. He's closing down on Daiso, so Dasson Martin's dropped off a little bit. He's 2 seconds behind now. So this trio at the front here, very much off by themselves.
Yeah, Hamish Gallagher running the Morgan Shepherd's Racing with Taylor car tonight. His personal Lord and Saviour, Taylor Swift, of course. So racing with Taylor tonight. So he is hoping a little bit of spiritual help will help him in this race.
Oh, Tay-Tay.
One day we'll find out his love.
I was going to say, I just don't understand, but I don't need to understand. It's not important. Just need to call it out, and of course we call him a lot because he's very, very fast. Hamish Gallagher, running at the front of just about everything ANZCAR does at the moment. So, and doing a good job here. He'd be happy with the position at the moment as well. Just able to sit in here quite nicely. They're starting to come up on some more lap traffic as well, so it's that's going to be entering into their minds a little bit. What do they do? Where or when do they jump into pit lane as well?
Yeah, they're going to be thinking about that a little bit later on. They're going to want to try and go as long as possible, just run those tanks to a little bit of a lower state. But if somebody does decide to do a two-stopper or free stop's probably a little bit extreme, but the sort of more two-stop areas, the first car to come in is going to get the advantage of the undercut. Those fresh tyres are going to help out. The issue is, the longer you stay out there and the other cars stay out there, the better their overcut becomes. Philip Worley's just coming into pit lane now, so we'll see if he's making a bit of a stop or if he's just coming in for just coming in to serve a penalty. I think he's actually going to be making a stop, but probably be made a liar of that. No, he is indeed stopping, so he might well be our first pit stopper on lap 52. So he's coming in for some fresh boots, a little bit of fuel, and he'll be a great help to his teammates now as well, because they'll know how much faster those tyres are. They'll know some fuel details. So he is coming in, and he is going to be trying for a little bit of a different strategy now. Meanwhile, Jason Martin sitting in fourth is a little bit lonely at the moment. He's got Edward Foster behind him, who's again sitting in a slightly lonely position in fifth. And then a bit further back there's Brenton Hobson, and he's got a good group of cars behind him with Joshua Carroll-Walton, James Russell. Ruben Phelps, I believe, is in that fight, as well as Michael Skurlock. So the field has stretched out a little bit, but the front is very tight indeed. Between Pearson, Dyson and Gallagher, those three are basically nose to tail at the moment. Nothing separating those three cars. Sorry, Daiso getting right onto the back of Pearson this time. Those two cars are just nose to tail as it stands. So the battle at the front rages on. You can see Gallagher is putting pressure on Dyson at the moment. Philip Worley is going to be setting some good lap times, I imagine. So I'll keep a bit of an eye out and let you know how that one goes. David Stockton also coming in as well. So it looks like some DPR cars are trying a little bit of a different strategy as well. Just trying that slight counter strategy, seeing what they can do with that one. So I'll keep an eye, as I said, on Philip Worley once I find him on my timing chart. There we go. So he just did a 29.3. So good 2 seconds faster than the leaders at the moment. So those fresh tyres are making a difference. And Michael Skurlock's coming in as well as Stephen Williams. So we are going to start seeing pit stops now. This is the time where the cork's being pulled and people are going to start coming into pit lane.
Yeah, we won't see the leaders yet, though.
JCW, Ruben Phelps.
Just going to say, Ed Foster's just quietly creeped his way up towards the front as well. So we mentioned that Jason Martin was off by himself. Foster's just gone past him, so potentially just a small incident there for Martin, because there was a gap of around about a second there, but now the gap is a second to the good for Edward Foster.
Yeah, well, I think it was a bit more than a small incident. I think he's made heavy contact. Martin has got a very big bit of damage on his right front at the moment, and he just hemorrhaged time after that. So he had a big moment going into turn one, lost the rear end, he just caught the apron and then ran up wide in the corner, and then has got a lot of damage on that front end and is hemorrhaging time at the moment, as I think Foster is coming into pit lane.
He is indeed, so...
As well as the leaders. Pearson and Andrew Dyson also in pit lane. That was going to leave Hamish Gallagher out there going for a slightly longer run. Jason Martin, Brenton Hobson, Jaden Russell sticking it out at the moment. So this is going to help Foster a lot, because he's going to be able to gain a fair bit of lap time as long as a caution flag doesn't come out. This is the risk you play coming in before the leaders. But the longer they stay out there, the more it's going to help somebody like Foster, because he's going to be able to jump a couple of cars. He obviously won't jump Pearson and Dyson, I imagine, unless they make a mistake. But those guys are going to be a lot closer on the road, I imagine, than they were before.
As Foster makes his way out of pit lane as well, so... go down a lap, but of course they will gain that back. Right now, if there's a caution period, that will play out best for those who have pit, because they won't be on such old tyres, but the longer it runs and the longer Hamish Gallagher sticks it out the front as Jason Martin jumps in, and Jaden Russell has had an issue as well. It hasn't brought out the caution.
Russell missing his pit entry there. He's actually locked it up, I think, and just run it outside there. Just completely was running a little bit too high coming into pit lane, missed the pit entry, and you can just see he's just locked up the front wheels and running a bit too much front brake bias, I reckon, and just unable to swing it in there. So that's going to cost him a heap of positions. Gallagher in pit lane as well. It's going to leave Justin Witcher out there to take the lead of the race. So Justin Witcher will pick up a bonus point for that one as well. Get his name with a lap led next to it as well, which is always a nice feeling. It's never a bad thing to have led a lap. He's going to be trying for that long stick out period and hope that there's a caution. A couple of other drivers trying that is Lachlan Urquio as well. So Lachlan Urquio sticking it out there, as well as Danny G. So a few drivers taking a bit of risk. I think Aidan Schultz is also trying that other strategy, so we'll see how that goes, as well as Paul Jackson. So 5 cars going to stick it out there as long as they possibly can. They will get caught up to by those leaders, but if a caution comes out, they are going to be sitting relatively pretty. And Justin Witcher has got a very clean car as well with the Witcher Electrics entry, so he's looking pretty good if a caution comes out.
Yeah, indeed he is, actually. And again, another one who's just quietly gone about it. He's up 17 positions. Lachlan Urquio getting some recovery out of that early incident he was involved in, currently sitting in second, 24 positions up. So, of course, there is some adjustment to come through with these stops, but these drivers won't be disappointed with where they're sitting at the moment.
No, and I said Foster would gain a couple of positions. His teammate Joshua Carroll-Walton as well gained positions. We saw JCW coming a bit early, managed to jump Hamish Gallagher. So Foster and JCW are sort of in positions together.
Yeah.
So good for those. But JCW will have a fast charge and Hamish Gallagher coming up to him on much fresher tyres. So JCW stopped 7 laps ago, Hamish Gallagher 2 laps ago. So there's going to be a bit of a difference in their tyres. But Foster did importantly gain a lot of time on Neil Pearson and Andrew Dyson. So they all came in together, but Dyson and Pearson, I think, had to check up a little bit coming into pit lane, and they lost a lot of time to Foster. Foster is also on a fast charge at the moment, so he is putting in some good lap times and is catching up to those guys. They have got a little bit of traffic to deal with as well, so that's not going to help them out. But they are trying their very best, and Foster is on a bit of a charge at the moment.
He is indeed. We're supposed to have the second screen running tonight, but Trading Paints has decided that it does not want to play. I've been trying to get that working in the background here, so apologies for that to everyone. We had hoped to have that up and running, but once again, the technology gods have beaten us, but we will have that fixed before next week.
Yes, the joys of issues. Dave Douglas having a big moment. He's spun. This might be a caution. Will it? Oh, no, I don't think we're going to get a caution. Double D having a big moment off the corner. Rear end's gone out. He has had a big hit. Big old Darlington striper, and that was right in front of Jason Martin as well. So that was almost disastrous for Martin. Do not know how we didn't get a caution there. That was very lucky, Dave, just managing to keep that car rolling and in the right spot. So he managed to save that one. He's going to have a lot of debris on those tyres, and that's going to hurt him now. So he's going to have to just try and get around the track now. He's probably actually going to come in pit lane and just get some repairs done and a fresh set of tyres as well. But yeah, that car is... Oh, he misses pit lane as well. He's done exactly the same as Jaden Russell. And he's actually jumped straight out the car to make sure there isn't a caution. So bad lap for Dave Douglas there. Something we don't often say. Double D just having a really rough couple of laps there.
Yeah, Richard, a couple of things to impact on his night, so he won't be happy with that.
And I imagine Philip Worley will be cursing right now because he would have seen that car going off there thinking, oh, this is what I needed. This is the caution I needed, and it's not happened. So this is going to be very painful for Justin Witcher. Lachlan Urquio as well. He is being caught up to by Philip Worley at a vast rate of knots. Actually just passed by Philip Worley, one of the early stoppers. So Lachlan Urquio is going to fall down that order now and drop places at a vast rate of knots. So he's just got to keep it out there. And he's just going to be hoping for that caution flag if it comes. Just because then he will at least be able to pit with the rest of the drivers. Being that some of them have been out there for 20 odd laps on these tyres, a fair few of them would come down pit lane. This is going to be really close.
Just saw the rate at which Jaden Russell went back past Justin Witcher as well, so it gives you an indication. Russell last time around 29.77 and Justin Witcher at 31.88, so 2 seconds to the good for those fresh tyres.
Yeah, and those guys that pitted from the front are already back on the lead lap. So the first car that's a lap down is Norman Clark at the moment, Stevie Dubb, Riley Curtis, Daniel Hedesheet. So a lot of cars on the lead lap, 16 on the lead with Jaden Russell, the first car a lap down, and obviously he's at the back of the pack from that bit of a mistake he had. But Philip Worley is currently the first car to have pitted, so he is catching up to Justin Witcher. I think Justin Witcher came in on the first round of pit stops as well, so he has he came in and yeah.
Sorry, Carl.
So, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. So yeah, he came in on that sort of first caution. So he's using that to his advantage. Meanwhile, Pearson really struggling and battling it out. Norman Clark trying his best to keep on the lead lap and trying to keep it up there as well. Just keeping his car just on the racing line and not making it easy for guys to get past. So that's cost Pearson and Dyson a little bit of time. Foster now has to battle his way past a couple of other drivers. Jaden Russell involved in that. Foster has got a fast charging Hamish Gallagher on his tail as well now. So Hamish Gallagher has worked his way back up there. Joshua Carroll-Walden just dropping back a little bit on those slightly older tyres. So you do see the difference that 4 or 5 laps makes on these tyres. That is a huge difference maker. So that will be noted for later in the race. So people will be going, look, it's going to be painful, of course, sticking it out there a bit longer, but it will work out for me towards the latter ends of the stages. If I pit early, I'm going to really struggle.
And Foster just opening that gap up again a little bit. He's got Philip Worley firmly in his sights. Just 0.3 there between the two. Which is not...
Justin, so I just want to mention Justin Which is doing a fantastic job.
Literally what I was about to say.
65, almost 65 laps now he's been out there on these tyres, and he is setting decent pace at the moment. Danny G and Lachlan Urquio doing a similar stint as well. But look, Justin Witcher, last time round, was a 31.6. Neil Pearson was a 30.1. So, yes, obviously he's a good second and a half slower, so he is struggling in time. But those are very, very old tyres at Darlington, which is not an easy thing to do. And you can see Pearson has now caught right up to the back of Witcher. But if Witcher can hold it out there for another, let's say, for another 10, 15 laps, he could possibly look at doing just the one more stop, so he could get this back to him later in the race. So it's not all doom and gloom for Justin Witcher at the moment. He's doing a very good job in that number 10.
Yeah, lap 85, 86 is probably going to be crucial for him. So as I say, 10 laps away and he'll be able to get to the end. So question is, how good will the tyres be by the end? Well, obviously not, probably not that great, but he will be able to single stop it.
Yeah, the big advantage he will pull out, though, is he'll go back out on fresh tyres, and he will be able to lap much faster than those guys that will be out there and stopping, say, on lap, maybe lap 100, for instance. So he'll have had 20 laps running those speeds, so he should be able to build up a nice bit of a gap. And then if a late caution comes out, he will be sitting very pretty indeed. So this could be one to watch out for Justin Witcher later in the race. Meanwhile, Hamish Gallagher has made his way past Foster. So Gallagher is back on the charge. His Lady Taylor is giving him the power to charge through the field tonight, and he is using all of that divine power to his advantage.
I love that divine power. Oh my goodness me! We have to get that out of him on your interviews, on the run into the chase. We need to find out the story. I don't know if he'll ever tell us, but we certainly need to ask the question. It would be poor of us not to ask why.
He's just a Taylor fan, that's all. Andrew Dyson coming under pressure from the man himself, Hamish Gallagher. Hamish Gallagher having a great run last night in the Xfinity Series. He is trying to put the pressure on Dyso at the moment, and he is doing that with all he can might. And Dyson is really having to defend with all he can at the moment, and it's not an easy job for him.
No, not at all. Look at that go there. He's going to get him. He's right on the back of him. As you see here on board with Hamish Gallagher. Good pace at the moment. Headed 3 laps earlier than Dyson, but that probably shouldn't be it now. Some 20 laps ago, those tyres would have plateaued by now.
So, some crucial information. Justin Witcher has just pitted, so he managed 70 laps on that stint. So, we know everybody's got to stop again, of course. But when do you stop? Very close there from Gallagher and Dyso, but Gallagher making the move. Perfect job there. He just nailed that pass.
And and it won't be too long if he keeps this up before he's on the back of Neil Pearson and challenging for the lead of the race.
Yeah, he's got some good speed at the moment. Hamish Gallagher has. Obviously, he stopped a couple of laps later. He stayed out there a little bit longer than the rest of them, remember? He stayed out for another 3 laps, I think it was, over the rest of the field. And those tyres just seem to be working so much better for him at the moment. So, crucially, this is sort of saying to the guys out there, look, you're probably best off actually sticking it out a little bit longer and coming in to get the freshest tyres for the end of the race, because that's going to give you the speed that you want. But you are playing a dangerous game there, because if you leave it too late, you're just going to drop back and not be able to catch up for those positions.
It's very true. He's already closing that gap down, so further back down the field. All sort of pretty evenly spaced at the moment. We've got about a second between just about every car on the way back down the list, so we're interested in seeing where Michael Skurlock is. He's currently sitting in P10, so he's 15 seconds off the lead. He stopped a few laps earlier than our race leader Neil Pearson, so he's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to take that Simric home, and that's why it's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge, that one. To win 3 out of 4 races is not an easy task, and he has managed to win 2 of them, which is great going. If he can get that 3rd win, it will be a fantastic reward, and a well-deserved one as well for Mr. Mickey Skurlock, because he's had some fantastic performances this season, and of course he did win Darlington in the regular season championship as well, so he has got a win here at Darlington, but unfortunately it wasn't the race that counted. So it was he was super excited about that win, and then all of a sudden he got told, no, that's not the one that counts, and then all of a sudden he's just like, oh no, I've got to do it all over again. Don't tell me that. And I think a bit of depression just sank in for him. Meanwhile, JCW's got Jason Martin all over the back of him at the moment. Martin just about to make a move on JCW there. The 35 getting passed by the 21. Down the inside, JCW keeping that line nice and steady. Doesn't get up too high, so doesn't get the marbles. Keeps a good job of that. He's going to try and make a little bit of an attempt on Martin, but Martin is on fresher tyres, so he is just going to make that a little bit easier. JCW, of course, one of the earlier stoppers, so he's going to be struggling a little bit now for pace. So we'll see how he goes with that one. Just behind Joshua Carroll at the moment is Scott Griffiths as well. So Griffiths has dropped down a couple of laps, unfortunately, so he's just trying to get back onto the lead lap as it stands.
Martin going to make a move up to the front here as well for Roy, 8 tenths away from him. So trying to identify that car on the outside there. It's like is it?
That would be
Steve Williams.
Stephen Williams, yeah.
Yeah, going in
for
the
green Skittle.
I was going to say, going in for another Skittle colour tonight. We were expanded out right throughout the pack.
Yeah, the classic DPR Skittles. Up at the front, Pearson just gets a big step of oversteer. Back end steps out on him. This is going to give Hamish Gallagher a great opportunity for passing. Will he manage it into turn number 1? Doesn't quite, but he's going to get better exit here. He had some good speed into the corner. Will he get better exit here? And is he going to try it in the tricky turns 3 and 4? Looks like he might go for it. He's making a bit of a move. Little bit of a half move there to try and put Pearson off the line. Pearson, knowing better than that, holds the car there, keeps it down. Just needs to get on the accelerator perfectly. This time Gallagher makes a mistake on the exit, gets a little bit too quickly on the accelerator, loses that power a little bit, gets a bit too much power, I should say, and the back end steps out. So this is the treacherous time, of course, when you're 30 laps in on these tyres, they do start to drop off a fair bit. So this is where you start losing a lot of pace. Just keeping an eye on Justin Witcher at the moment. He's just catching up to Stevie Dubb. So he is he's trying to catch up to Stephen Williams and Norman Clark now, and then just try and get back on the lead lap. So he's setting really good pace at the moment as well. He's in the 29.6s, so he's almost 2 seconds, about a second and a half quicker than the leaders at the moment. So this is where that pace will come in to help him a little bit, but he's going to need a caution to make it home. He's going to need a late caution to make this one work, preferably after everybody else has stopped.
I think Stevie Dub still that damage from earlier on.
Meanwhile, up at the front, we have got the battle for the lead going on. Just getting past Ryan Jones there, who's in a bit. Oh, Neil Pearson up into the wall. He's just tagged the wall a little bit. This is going to give Gallagher the opportunity. Gallagher just has to go a little bit lower. He tries to use that low line to his advantage. Can't quite make it work. Pearson will have a little bit of marbles on his tyres, I reckon. He's going to lose that back end in this corner, which he's doing. That back end is just stepping out a little bit on him. Gallagher's going to get a better run off this corner and is going to put Pearson under a lot of pressure right now. The attack is on from Gallagher on Pearson for the lead of this race. It is all go at the front.
Yeah, lucky there. Hamish, he just wasn't able to quite get down far enough to make the move. He says a fair bit of battle damage. The right hand side of Pearson's entry there. That didn't work out that well for him. Just to pull out of it a little bit there.
Yeah, Pearson up into the wall again that last time round, as well as Gallagher. We've had okay, everything's back.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It was Gallagher there, just a little blip.
I think that was everybody, actually. I lost every car. I was clicking around frantically. So, yeah, there was a little bit of a server hiccup there, but luckily nobody got caught out by that.
Technology.
So, yeah, I think everybody has just had a big pucker moment and has just breathed a big sigh of relief there as things return to normal, thankfully. That was almost one of those brown alert moments there, I think, for everybody.
Most definitely. You don't want it happening to you when you've got a car just in front of you, as Hamish Gallagher does. Trying it on again. Still not quite able to get through there. Oh, it's Pearson.
There was no contact there. Just Pearson got up into the marbles and the rear just stepped out on him. Gallagher getting that position back. Pearson's wanting it back, but he's going underneath him. There's going to be hip and tackle. Pearson goes into the side, gives him a bit of a hit check. Bit of door rubbing there, rubbing his racing, son. Pearson does not get the position. Gallagher keeps it. Gallagher has taken the lead of the race here for the ANZCAR Cup, round number 1 of the chase.
Some good driving there from Hamish. He was nice and patient for as long as he needed to be. And then Pearson just started to make a couple of errors there. Tyres potentially just starting to struggle a little bit. Gallagher 3 laps better on tyre life than Pearson was. He's just able to get through.
Foster into Dyson. They just, both of them got really, really tight in the corner. And Foster's just drifted up the track, gone into the side of Dyson as he was passing him. And they both made a little bit of contact. No major damage, thankfully, between those two cars. So both of them will continue racing. I was just about to say Foster's starting to put on a bit of a charge. They got Josh Micklemore just sitting behind him. 16 laps down for Micklemore. I don't think we're going to see a comeback like last night in the Xfinity race, where he was 2 laps down and managed to get it back up there. But he is still out there circulating and just trying to get a few positions back now.
Yeah, absolutely. It still helps. Never know where you might finish. Grab some points, but that gap has opened up there. Looks as well like, is that Lachlan Urquio trying to make his way up on the back? It was on the back of Dyson as well. So
yeah. He's on much fresher tyres, of course. Lachlan Urquio, he's on tyres that have only done 19 laps. So his car is a little bit damaged, but he has got some very fresh tyres on that car at the moment. So he's trying that slightly different strategy as it stands. Meanwhile, just on the old Witcher watch, He's in 14th position now, working his way up the field. Managed to get past Stevie Dub. He's got Norman Clark next to attack, and then he has to catch up to Hamish Gallagher to try and get back on the lead lap. But he is still crucially one of the fastest cars out there, so he is doing what he needs to do at the moment. And when all of his lead pack come into pit lane, as long as there's no caution, he will get back in the lead of this race. And then critically, if there's a caution towards the end of the race, he will be in a very good position indeed. I don't think he can make it personally. From what I was seeing, it was about 10 laps he needs to make, which is, it's possible, but it's I think he will be a fair amount shy, so he's going to struggle a lot. Yeah. I think Ryan Jones might be coming in for some fuel and tyres and just getting it so it can get to the end of the race now. He's down 10 laps down, unfortunately. He's just ahead of Daniel Heddersheed, who's actually disconnected. So, as Josh Micklemore's engine has gone. Micklemore's engine has let go of him. So that is it for Micklemore tonight, unfortunately. He is just going to try and get it back into pit lane now. And he should be able to do that without too much trouble. So that has really hurt him, as there's somebody around on the track as well. We've got an incident on the track. Who is that? Scott Griffiths and Stevie Dub got into each other. So those have had contact. So Griffiths has got up into the wall and come down and caught Stevie Dub and spun it round. So big impact there for those two. Griffiths getting really caught up in that one. Importantly, though, he managed to keep it green. So that is that's not exactly what some drivers would have wanted to see. A few drivers would have been praying for a caution because that would have helped him out. Ruben Phelps actually coming into pit lane now. So Ruben's going to try that different strategies. Oh, Hamish Gallagher gets caught up with, I think that might have been Stockton. So him himself and Stockton just getting a little bit close for comfort there. Just round the edge of the corner. Stockton just keeping his line and Gallagher just getting a little bit of side contact there. And that's going to cost him a lot of time there. And of course, teammates trying to help each other out. It's all contact between Gallagher and Stockton. Stockton gets spun. The caution is out. Hamish Gallagher, I think, getting a little bit frustrated with Stockton there and doing a bit of a move on him. Oh. We've lost you on the feed, Stuart. Sorry, we will fix that. Sorry, thank you so much.
I'm back. Yep, sorry about that. That was sorry. Yeah, so you probably thought the car was just taking a break of me talking to myself. Technology issues continue. Anyway, yeah, that's Rubber Racing is what I said, but I'm not so sure about that one. That's very, very frustrating. So there'll be a huge train of cars jumping in to pit lane now to get what could be the final stop done.
I think that was a little bit of a revenge job from Gallagher there, because Stockton basically held him up a little bit there. A bit of team play in effect there. But the one to come out of it worst was Hamish Gallagher, because he got a lot of damage to the front end of that car. So that really has affected his race. So that was, this is one of the things of stock car racing, is there is some, it's a little bit like chess, where you're allowed to slap your opponent sometimes. So these things can happen. So that's going to change a lot of people's races now. Will we see a couple of people gamble on just the right sides? We saw Brenton West do that last night, and it paid off quite well for him. But with the amount of laps that they'd done on those tyres, and the amount left, I doubt anyone's going to take that gamble. I think they're all going to take 4 sets.
Edward Foster's maintained his position out of that, so when the caution was called, I'm assuming Pearson would have been in the lead of the race because he did drive by the incident. So, but Gallagher will retain second place. So the damage on the front of Gallagher's car, as you say, is going to impact on him. He's got a little bit on the nose and just mainly that right-hand front corner as well. So when you've got the 53's in mint condition, Neil Pearson's got a little bit of damage to that right-hand side after those couple of clips to the wall. So, no one really out there in the best equipment other than probably Foster in that top 4 or 5. I think even Andrew Dyson's got a little bit of damage on the 041. So, see how this plays out for Gallagher. As long as the steering wheel's not too badly damaged, or the steering's not too badly damaged, he may play this one out. We saw last night, of course, Carl, that a couple of the damaged cars still managed to make good pace. Josh Mickelmore, one of those drivers, so you never know.
No, you don't, and you can never give up, never stop, because you never know when your race is over. It's just keeping going, and a little bit of damage around Darlington isn't a bad thing. It's Daytona. Damage like that can absolutely ruin your race, but here at Darlington, the game is not over. You've still got some left to run for the night. Just glancing down the field, I think Justin Witcher came out of that really well. So he actually got back on the lead lap, I think, or he's got the lucky dog. So he's actually got the lucky dog. So that's going to jump him back on the lead lap now. So Witcher is sitting in a relatively good spot as it stands. So this is good news for him. That bit of a strange strategy has kind of paid off. That's got him up 8 positions in the race, and he is going to be on, well, he's going to be on 1 lap fresher tyres than the rest of the field, but importantly, he is on the lead lap, so he'll have to drop to the back of the line, so he won't be able to start up with the rest of the field, unfortunately for him. So he'll be starting behind a lot of cars that are a little bit damaged and a lap down, but he is on the lead lap, so that gives him a chance. So we'll see how that one goes for him in this race. Jaden Russell now becomes the first car a lap down, I believe, so if another caution flies, then he'll get that lucky dog. But they are lining up side by side now. Neil Pearson on the inside, leading the race. Hamish Gallagher on the outside. Will we see the red mist descend again for Neil Pearson and Hamish Gallagher? Those two were just getting a little bit close for comfort towards in that last stint, and we saw the DPR team just getting on to Gallagher and just causing the red mist to descend. But the red car has descended. Great start for Neil Pearson. He gets away strong. Foster in the background is going to try and make a move on Gallagher already. He manages to get down the inside. Foster getting up into second place. Gallagher just struggling a little bit with that damage. Jason Martin losing the front end. He manages to catch it, but he's going to drop back a lot of positions there. Jason Martin, disastrous for him. That's going to help Michael Skurlock move up. Skurlock into 6th position, just behind Brenton Hobson at the moment. So those cars are going to be helped a little bit with that incident, working their way up the field. Daiso sits in 5th position.
Yeah, and I was going to say Joshua Carroll Walden as well. A little bit of a benefactor, back up into 7th place as a consequence of that caution, as well as Hobbo. That helped him as well in terms of closing that gap down with the lead spreading a little bit here. So they're starting to put pressure onto the back of Andrew Dyson, Edward Foster and Hamish Gallagher nice and close together. So Gallagher still managing to keep the pace with that damage, and Neil Pearson as well not managing to drive away. He did get a good start, but it's coming back to him now with Foster and Gallagher now less than a tenth. You can see here Foster closing up on the back of Neil Pearson, and he won't be backwards and coming forwards either. So we've got 3 different teams represented at the front here. And they've all got support in that pack behind them, so how will this play out?
Not a surprise to say, three of the biggest teams in ANZCAR as well. We got DPR, we have got Natari, and we have got Mitch Motorsport, of course. And I was going to say about Hamish Gallagher a bit earlier on, a great signing for Mitch, of course. Hamish Gallagher was flying solo all last season, and he has really proven this year that he was a star signing for the Mitch Motorsport team. He's trying to put a bit of pressure on Foster at the moment, trying to get that position back, but Foster will have got some practice last night defending a little bit. He's going to try and get the move done on Pearson, though, so he's going to be watching Pearson, watching his lines, and then trying to make a strike, a little bit like a predator watching its prey. He's just trying to see where Pearson is slow and then make the move from there.
You won't want to be defending too hard for long if you can avoid it. These two really don't want to fight. They want to help one another get up onto Pearson and probably get that move done. So it's just down in the background there. I think Michael Skurlock, just down underneath Brenton Hobson. So he's just had to slightly get out of that one as it slid up, and that's cost him some time. Joshua Carroll-Walden now is going to get the move down underneath Michael Skurlock, closes the door on him. So look for the move. Didn't quite pay off for him, Skurly, but he's got time.
He has, and this is one of the things at a track like this is you make the move, and sometimes it can cost you a couple of positions. If you don't make it work, it's gonna end up hurting you, and that can be painful sometimes. But Skurly just needs to resettle in, just let those tyres cool down a little bit if they got a bit warm, and then just go back on the attack. There's still 42 laps remaining here tonight, a long way to go. This track sometimes is too tough to tame, but the driver that tames it tonight is going to be walking away with a nice haul of points, so it is well worth making it right here.
Or potentially a sim rig.
I don't want to mention it too much. I don't want to put too much of a commentator's curse on him.
No, absolutely right.
That's it. You almost don't want to mention him, do you? You just sort of just ignore him for the night and hope for the reverse commentator curse to come into effect. Pearson just losing a bit of drive on the exit of the corner there. Foster getting a really good run now on the on the back straight. So he's going to get a good run into the corners now, onto the front straight. So watch for Foster. He's thinking about making the attack, but he's also got to keep an eye on Gallagher behind him, because if he makes that move, he does not want to drop back behind Gallagher. So he's sort of thinking about, again, as we say, it's the attacking and defending at the same time. You've got to do both as you're driving along, and it is an incredibly hard skill to learn, an even harder one to master. But Foster is a driver that is very good at doing both of those things.
I was going to say just before, I was going to actually run Skurly Cam tonight just to highlight how he was going. So I'm probably glad I didn't do that in the end.
Just to really put the knockers on him.
Yeah, probably glad I didn't do that in the end.
I'm sure he would have ended up flying off to the moon or something if we had that camera on him on the first lap. Lucky for him then. But no, we're quietly cheering him on, we'll say. And he has got Joshua Carroll-Walden just in front of him at the moment, so he's going to try his best to get the pass done and get that move made. But he's sitting in a relatively good position at the moment. The leaders aren't charging off too quickly, so that's an important thing to have, as you don't want to be dropped off too far. Still a long way in this race to go. If we get a caution as well, a late caution could absolutely change this race, because fresh tyres, we know how much of an advantage they are. But with only a couple of laps done on these tyres, we might see some people not taking the risk of coming in. Pearson sitting up high, Foster getting in below Pearson. He's trying to make the move, can't quite make it stick this time. But Foster just saying to Pearson, look, I am here, and any mistakes you make, I am going to make you pay for them. Pearson is going to have to sit that pressure at the moment, and he is really going to have to defend with everything he's got.
Foster's in the cleanest car of the group at the front, so I'm not sure how much that's going to count at the moment. But every little bit helps, of course.
Yeah, you've got to say, Foster has been looking to shape up that move for a few laps, and it looks like he's doing a couple of probing attacks at the moment. He's not really going for it, but he's just sort of just poking at Pearson and just seeing which lines that he's capable of running and seeing which line is the best to attack him on, as Pearson just gets up a little bit close to the wall again. Back end just steps out a little bit on him. One good thing for these drivers now is, though, the track temperature will be dropping. Track temperature's dropped to 28 degrees now. Was 40 odd when we started the race, so it's going to be much less punishing on those tyres. As that sun goes down, it's going to help these drivers out an enormous amount, so the speeds won't drop off as much as they were earlier on in the race. And importantly, that means that fresh tyres are not as effective. So it's still going to be a thing. I think if we see a caution come out with 20 laps to go, we'll see everybody come into pit lane. If a caution came out now, we might see a few drivers not risk it because they've only got one set of tyres left.
Michael Skurlock gets the move done underneath Joshua Carroll-Walden to retake that position. He's back up into 6th place. It's actually not often something that we talk about, Carl, is the drop-off in track temperature because of the change. But obviously a sufficiently long race tonight that we're getting through that.
Yeah, very much so, and it's one of those tracks that sort of, it can hold its temperature a little bit. Darlington, the lady in black, of course, and that's that lovely black racing line that you get around there, but it has dropped off significantly. That is a huge drop off in track temperature, so those drivers will be feeling it as well, and it changes the balance of the car as well. It's one of the things that is hard to explain to somebody that hasn't really done much racing. But when the track temperature drops, the car feels a lot better. It changes the way it drives. So often you'll see people, especially in endurance racing and NASCAR as well, when it is going from day to night, is they'll set the car to run better in hot weather, for instance. So in the early stages, they'll have a really good car, but it might not run as well at night. Whereas others will make it run better at night, not in the day. Of course, it is a fixed setup in ANZCAR, so you can't go tweaking around too much. There are a few things you can change, though. And those few things people will have been tweaking throughout the week just to get an idea of what's going to work better for the nighttime and what's going to work better for the daytime.
What are those things that the drivers can change?
Well, generally it's things like steering ratio, you change a little bit of the steering ratios, brake bias, things like that. So not a huge amount, as I say, but every little helps. Steering offset as well, so you can give those a little bit of a tweak. Of course, your steering ratio, sort of a little bit. Some drivers like to have a nice tight car. Some like to have it a little bit more open, so you've got a little bit more give in the wheel, and that's purely on driver instinct. But of course, if you've got a very sort of pinchy car, so if the steering ratio is very low, then the car will turn quicker. So the steering wheel will make the wheels turn quicker, but that will make your tyres wear quicker. If you've got a wider steering ratio, then you can move the wheel more. Oh, Pearson up into the wall there. Pearson just grabbing the wall again. That's going to give Foster a bit of a run here. But when you've got that steering ratio open a little bit wider, it means that you have to turn the wheel a little bit more, but you're not going to wear the tyres out as much. So those are big things for the cars, and those are pretty much the big changes that you have to play with, and the drivers will have tested out all the different parts in there.
Struggling a little bit there, isn't he? Up in front, Pearson. He's led most of the race tonight though, so he's looking to try and convert this one.
Well, he's going to get the bonus points for most laps, and of course he got the pole position as well, so this is a good start for Pearson. He just wants to keep it that way for the race as well, and actually, come out with the W next to his name, but it does look like he's struggling a little bit with the rear of that car. He might just have a little bit of damage on with that front of the car, and it might just be causing him some issue with tyre wear possibly. So that could be costing him a little bit. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones has had a big moment coming into pit lane. Again, looks like he's got a bit too much front brake bias and actually skipped the pit entry and tagged the old water barrels at the front of the pit lane. So his night is over and done with. But most importantly, the green flag has remained out. The yellow has not seen the light of day, or the gloom of evening, I should say.
Scully now has caught up onto the back of Hobson, and Philip Wall has just got past Joshua Carroll-Walden as well. So
Yeah, JCW really struggling at the moment. I think he's just struggling for pace at the moment. That car just does not look settled at all. Martin is catching up to him at a vast rate of knots as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see JCW just drop a couple more positions maybe tonight.
As Hobbo just gets up into the wall, I think there. Just maybe gave it a touch here. Back getting a little loose on the 54 entry. Sort of coincidental timing because I think Skirley got real close as well. So sort of had to pull out of it, and then the same thing happened to Hobbo. So it just caught both of them out that little bit.
Well, sometimes you sort of follow a car in sympathy up to the wall. When you're driving behind somebody, you sort of get locked into this bit of driving as Skurlock tries to make the move on Hobson again, can't quite make it stick. But you sort of almost get hypnotised by the car in front of you, and when they make a mistake, you sort of follow in sympathy with them.
Yeah, absolutely. There is that imitation game that happens. You drive 10 tenths to get up to the back of someone else, and then start driving 11 tenths in someone else's race and end up missing out on the opportunity. So it does happen. But Michael Skurlock did speak about that during the season, getting caught up watching the mirror and the car in front and not running his own race. So there's Lachlan Urquio now. It's just up in front of Neil Pearson. So
on a move for JCW, getting passed by Jason Martin right there. Martin just making the move on JCW, and yeah, JCW looks to be struggling a little bit in that car. Justin Witch is going to be catching him relatively soon as well, so I'll keep a bit of an eye for that one.
the gap at the front's open up again, but Dyson has closed down on Hamish Gallagher, so bit of a yo-yo here. But if it stays green at this stage, Pearson just pulling away from Foster. It's 3/4 of a second to the good. So you'd have to say at this stage, Pearson just doing the right things.
Yeah, Pearson's driving well at the moment, and he's just keeping it steady. I'm just wondering if Foster's just easing off a little bit, just getting settled in and settled down for a bit of a charge towards the end of the race. So we might see a little bit of a hard charge from Foster, but I think at the moment he may just be sitting back there and deciding to settle a little bit. He has got a little bit of damage on the right front as well, so he's had a little bit of the Darlington stripe applied to his car. So not a huge amount of damage, but enough to just make you ease off a little bit maybe. So he might just be deciding to not push it too hard at the moment. He's got quite a few chase rivals that are relatively out at the moment as well, so that's something else to think of. So quite a few of the rivals and contenders in the chase are quite far down at the moment, so he is sitting in a good position in second place.
It hasn't been a good run for some of the contenders tonight. Josh Micklemore obviously as the series champion.
Luke Trahair out early doors as well.
Yeah.
Luke Trahair going to be down in 29th position, unfortunately. That's going to really hurt him. Danny G down in 19th position at the moment as well. So Matty Ray in 15th. But yeah, that's going to affect those guys, especially Josh Micklemore. That little bit of points advantage that he had coming into the series with that win will have pretty much been negated because of this.
Yeah, not an ideal circumstance at all.
But, as we said, it's not over until it is over, and last season's champion did not have the best start to the chase, and then things got better as it went on, so it wouldn't be the first time we've seen that, so you can't give up after the first race because you do not know what's going to happen. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does.
As someone so famously once said.
Indeed. Pearson running well up the front at the moment and setting competitive lap times, actually. He's setting similar lap times to Foster at the moment, so they're both pretty much trading time at the front. Fastest truck car on track at the moment is Stockton, who came in for a pit stop, slapped some fresh tyres on that car, down in 20th position. So he's the fastest car out there at the moment, but he is a fair few laps down, so that will not help him out too much, but he's trying to catch up to Danny G at the moment, see if he can actually possibly get into the P19 position. So he's going to be trying for that one.
He's actually just on the back of Andrew Dyson as well at the moment, so he's up with our leaders, so he may unlap himself. But as you said, that differential that you get for the new tyres against the old, so Damon Stockton 30.5, Neil Pearson last up round at 30.9, so it's not massive, and those cooler track temperatures making sure that happens. We've got a caution. We have a caution.
Oh, this is a big one. Danny G possibly involved in this one. Yeah, so Danny G has had a moment, a car in front of him. The 28 of Jaden Russell's gone up into the wall.
Tank slapper.
And collected the Jeff Gordon livery Danny G. So that is disastrous for Danny G as well, because he is in the chase too. We said Mitch Motorsport had all of their cars in the chase this season, but it's not the start they would have wanted.
No, not at all. So it looks like Jaden Russell there just lost the back of the car, just couldn't quite grab it back, collected the wall, and at the same time when it spat him back out again, Danny G was the catcher, and unfortunately that's ended both of their races. Do you know who this does help, of course?
Question for you, Stuart. Who
Yes.
takes right side only? I'm going with Michael Skurlock.
Yeah, it's a very Skirly thing to do, isn't it? And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Hobbo did something like that as well. Just have a roll of the dice. So Foster probably not. But you know what? The tyres aren't that bad. We're just talking about the differential in lap time. So Foster might decide that it's worth the jump in the defend to just take it. So you keep an eye on Ed, and we'll have a look at Dyson on screen and Skirly on screen as they pull up into their pit boxes. Stop's so
Foster
important.
taking 2 sets. So it looks like,
Yeah, Skirly's doing the same thing.
yeah,
So
looks like they are all taking all sets of tyres. So yeah,
Sets
looks
out.
like everybody's at the full service. So everybody taking all the tyres that they can get their hands on. Their grubby little mitts on. They're just going to take all of those tyres because they want the freshest set to the end. No risks taken by any of them, which is probably for the best. This is really going to help out Justin Witcher, who was catching to Joshua Carroll-Walden. He had a lot of time to catch up to him, but now he's going to be starting right on the back of that group of 10 cars. Aidan Schultz has managed to get back on the lead lap with the lucky dog. So the Aussie Esports driver is going to be sort of back on the lead lap. He will be at the back of the pack, of course, but he will be on the lead lap. So if there's any big incidents at the front, this could be good news for him. So that early accident cost him a lot of positions and a lot of time and obviously a lot of damage. But the night is not over yet, and we've got a restart to come. We've got we've got less than a 12 lap dash, Stuart. This is going to be a bit spicy, I think.
Andrew Dyson managed to jump Hamish Gallagher in pit lane as well. Just having a look back at the stop there, he just did it purely based on a quicker total pit time, so better in the entry than Hamish of 52.47 total transit time, and grabbed himself a second and moved himself up into third place.
Yeah, I wonder if Gallagher might have just been getting a tiny bit of damage repaired or something like that with that one, but I think honestly that was more just Daiso just absolutely nailing the stop. He is very good with his marks and very good with his pit entry and exit. Tends to be pretty spot on with that, and that's gonna be useful to DPR because they're gonna have 2 cars on that low line now. So they're gonna have Pearson and Dyson on that low line. Foster is going to be on the outside. So there can be a bit of teamwork involved in that one. Foster has really got to nail this start, otherwise he could see himself losing a couple of positions.
Yeah, well, he's got Gallagher behind him and Hobbo's behind Gallagher, so who do you pick from here, Carl? 10 laps to go. Say 10 laps to go when we go green. Who's your money on if we stay green to the end?
I've got to say, Pearson has been driving fantastically tonight, and I think he is going to have he's got an advantage with the teammate up there. He's got the teammate advantage, and I think that's going to help him out.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'd love to see Skirley just round the outside, run it all the way through to the end. But it just hasn't quite had it there. But remember as well, Foster started in 11th position, so second place, albeit he'd always want the win as any driver would. It's not going to be a bad outcome for him when he probably would have thought at the start of the night that potentially he wasn't going to get there. So we're about to go green. I'll get this one underway for the run to the finish. 12 to go, be 11 to go as we get back across the start.
Oh, Foster's had a terrible start! Foster's around. Foster's had a big spin, taking out Gallagher and Skurlock there. Big mistake for Foster. Caution is out. The caution flag is flying. That was disastrous for Foster.
Now that happened before the start-finish line. So what does that mean for positions?
I'll have to wait for things to sort themselves out for me. So yeah, I think Foster might have missed a gear change there, or just overdone it. So he just absolutely got the wheels spinning. So watch this from Foster. Gets those wheels spinning, and then all of a sudden there's nothing he can do. So just a bit too much power on the exit there. Up into the wall. Gallagher gets caught heavily. Skirley almost makes it through. Tries to creep through, and then Foster goes into his side. Big impact on Skurlock's car there, but he probably got the least out of it, so it's not the end of the world for Skurlock, but that is not what he wants. Foster then getting tagged as well by the 24, so yeah, unfortunately getting tagged by Danny G. Unfortunately, Danny G had nowhere to go, so yeah, that was a disaster there.
Yeah, obviously will not be happy about that at all. Just one of those things. We did say there'd be 10 to go when we went green again, but we probably didn't mean it in this way.
Well, what did you say at the start of the broadcast, Stuart? It's cautions breeding cautions, and that's a prime example of it. That restart really, really caught them out, and Foster coming into pit lane just to get a bit of repairs done, maybe. So he's going to get a quick repair done and get back out on the track to try and get back to the group. Because he'll have used up all his sets of tyres as well, so he won't have any tyres left to use for the night. But he'll probably just get a quick repair done and then skip it back out on track with a little bit less damage and end up sort of at the back of the lead group. So yeah, that was not what you want to have happen there, and it's one of those moments that you feel sick to the bottom of your stomach when it happens as well. It's such a horrible feeling when you lose the car at the front of the field like that, and you take out a group of cars, especially a group of cars that are fast and strong. You really, really feel bad about it. Hamish Gallagher as well coming into pit lane to do the same, so he's going to get some repairs done before the restart.
Well, we could have a DPR. 1, 2, 3 here. Philip Worley's now up into 4th. We've got Hobbo in 3rd. He'll be stoked to be up in 3rd position. So
I think Jason Martin's going to be a bit surprised up in 5th at the moment. Yep. I think he felt like his night was pretty much over and done with. Watch out for Justin Witcher.
I was about to say that man we've been speaking about all night. Justin Witcher is up into 7th.
His car is extremely clean as well. There does not look to be a dent on it. So that thing is looking extremely good.
So, yeah, what happens from here? Well, he'd given me 9 different scenarios, and that was one of them. I would never have picked that that would happen. So I'm not going to make any guesses anymore about what might happen.
Yeah, this is it now. It's we won't make any guesses because only the worst could possibly happen. We don't want to put the old commentator's curse on anybody right now. That was just that's just one of those racing moments, unfortunately, and just gets caught out, and it can happen to the very best in the field. We just saw that happen to Foster. It's a real unfortunate thing. But fresh tyres, of course, they would be a little bit cooler. And that might have just been the thing that caught him out there, because just on those slightly cooler tyres, it is easy to get caught out on. He was really trying to keep an eye on Pearson, trying to time that start perfectly. And yeah, it just did not work out for him. DPR now have both the front rows of the start, with Philip Worley up on the high side. So I imagine there'll be a bit of teamwork going on there for those lads, as the pace car will be peeling in shortly. Brenton Hobson doing a fantastic job once again up there in third position. Pearson just trying to get a little bit of tyre temperature in there, just getting a few revs on there as well. Just trying to get those rear tyres up to temperature. I'm just listening to those cars and they're just blipping a little bit. So both him and Dyson are both just trying to get tyre temperature up, and sounds like they're dragging the brakes a little bit too to get some residual heat in there too. So I think that accident just opened up everybody's eyes. So we will see how this one goes.
Yeah, I did hear them doing that actually as well when we were riding on the lid of Andrew Dyson. As we get back underway here, and it's a good start from DPR, as you'd expect. They just move quite neatly into the front three positions. And that will certainly help them out.
That's it. Timed to perfection. They're getting that job done. Brenton Hobson tried his best to battle it on, couldn't quite make it work. Jason Martin now putting pressure on Hobbo. Scully just behind him. Scully trying to get underneath Martin. There's a little bit of contact between the two. Martin's going to hold position, but Scully is really trying for that position. This is going to give JCW a chance for the charge. Neil Pearson is the current leader though, just ahead of Andrew Dyson, Philip Worley, Brenton Hobson trying to make a move on Worley right now, putting the pressure on the purple DPR car. Hobson would dearly like to get a top three finish tonight, I'm sure, to help to that very good record he's got in the series. Meanwhile, all contact between Foster and Witcher, I think it was, towards the back. So I think that's going to drop Foster back even further. So disaster for Foster there. That's caught him off guard. So big little tag slapper there, and JCW now putting the pressure on Skurlock. Martin falling out of position. He's dropped position to Skurley and JCW. JCW up on the high side at the moment. Martin on the inside. Will he be able to hold position? Doesn't look like it. Skurley working his way up there just behind Brenton Hobson at the moment. But it is Neil Pearson in the lead. We've got 2.5 laps to go now. Pearson is in the lead with a decent amount of side. Andrew Dyson in second, but the battle for third is very strong at the moment. Hobbo is putting the pressure on Worley.
Yeah, he certainly is. Jump on board with Hobbo now. It's all over the back of Phil Worley.
And what you can't see from that camera is there is a very, very fast charging Welsh Wonder in Michael Skurlock. That's the reason the camera went a little bit wobbly, because Skurley was right on Hobson's tail. He was trying to push his way past, could not quite make it work. Skurley has not given up yet. 1.5 laps to go. Worley getting a little bit out of position. That's going to drop him a little bit of time. This could be Hobson's chance right here. Will he be able to make the move? Doesn't look like it yet. Worley just holding that position well. White flag will be coming out this lap. Neil Pearson's going to see that white flag. He is going to be breathing a sigh of relief. Andrew Dyson will be in second, but the battle is still on between Worley, Hobson, Skurlock, JCW and Martin. These guys are real nose to tail at the moment.
They just can't seem to find a way at the moment. Skurley just gets a good run on there. He's going to try it now. He's going to probably get it done too. Oh, a little bit of contact there with Hobbo. Hobbo's up into the wall. He's got to keep the boot into it though, because it's the last lap.
And Neil Pearson's going to cross the line.
Neil Pearson.
Take the win with Dyson second. Worley is going to come home third for a DPR. 1, 2, 3 there. Skurlock came home fourth. The fastest non-DPR car out there. I don't know if that classifies him for a win, but he did all he could do tonight. 5th place for Joshua Carroll Walden, 6th for Jason Martin. Brenton Hobson dropped down to 7th, but still gained 2 positions in the race. Justin Witcher, car number 10, gained 10 positions in the race, up to 8th. Aidan Schultz, getting that lucky dog helped him out because he moved up to P9 in the end, 11 positions gained. Edward Foster dropped down to 11th. Hamish Gallagher finished in 10th at the end of that race.
Well, if the rest of the chase is going to be like that to finish, there is a ton to look forward to. There's no question about that whatsoever. So, Pearson really dominated the race for a majority of the night. So, at the end of the day, the win deserved.
Pole position, fastest lap, and the win. He has done it all tonight, Neil Pearson.
Most laps led as well, so he's really put the wrapper on the baby, so to speak, and he's carried it all the bundle all the way home.
A dominating race, you can say, for Pearson, and you got to say, DPR looking strong there. That's also incredibly good news for Andrew Dyson, of course. Dyso in the chase too, so that is fantastic result for himself. Michael Skurlock up there as well. So Skurlock is the third highest finisher in the chase, just with Jason Martin in fourth. Then we go to Gallagher in fifth, Foster in sixth, Matty Raymond in seventh. Eighth, we have Danny G. Ninth is Josh Micklemore. And Joshua Carroll, of course, up in fifth as well. So he's fourth. And Luke Trahair, the biggest loser, finishing 29th in the end, unfortunately out very early. So Luke Trahair is not the ideal start for the chase for him.
So I'll just bring the podium in here, Carl, and you can take it away and have a chat with the boys about how the race was.
Absolutely, and we have a bit of a DPR lockout in the old commentator's booth tonight.
And it's not a road course.
It's not a road course, no. Congratulations to DPR. Congratulations to Philip Worley, Andrew Dyson and Neil Pearson. But I am going to start with the third place man, as is tradition. Mr. Philip Worley, congratulations on that P3. We've seen you coming along well on these ovals. And again, you're up in the commentator's booth at the end of the race.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Did my job. Took away the best position that wasn't first and second for my teammates. And a little bit disappointed it doesn't count to the chase, but it's a podium nonetheless.
Well, that is it. It's another podium under your belt, of course, which is not a bad thing at all. Another great finish for you. And we were talking a little bit before, of course, with more towards next year, of course. The top 20 in the season's champions do get locked in for Daytona, of course, and you've got a chance to be the best of the rest at the moment because you're basically the highest car out of the chase at the moment. So I imagine you're going to be trying to chase the best of the rest moniker.
Absolutely. First and foremost, it's the two boys ahead of me. If they need a spot, they're getting it because they need the points for the chase. But apart from that, yeah, I'm going to be the best of the rest.
And of course, it will be looking good for you for next season as well at Daytona. So that's also a nice little bit of icing on the cake. But it is also a good experience gainer for you on these ovals. And we have seen you getting stronger and stronger each week and getting up here more and more. You're just getting too good, Mr. Worley.
Yeah, I don't know about that. A little bit of luck involved in that one, to be honest. No, I'm really looking forward to next year because I feel like the next gen car suits me a little bit better than this one. Especially for the road courses and the shorter tracks. So, yeah, my eyes are definitely looking forward to next year to start fresh and get off to a good start and not have to miss the chase again. But at the moment, it's about the two boys ahead of me.
Well, you keep up this current form, you are going to be looking in at a chase position next year for sure. That is no doubt about it. You've had some great run of form. And again, another really strong race here tonight on the Oval. Darlington is one of those notorious tracks as well. Have you done much running here?
No, that was my first race here.
Just rubbing salt in the wounds right now. That's just not fair.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just my first race at Darlington. I finished third. It wasn't anything special. No, that is a great result, mate. Look, Darlington, the track that is too tough to tame, and you pretty much tamed it perfectly tonight, getting that third position. I'm going to skip over the corporate sponsors, of course, but anyone you'd like to shout out just in general?
No, not anyone particular, really. Everyone in the team works hard to get to where we are, and I'll let the boys look after the sponsors. So yeah, no one in particular. Maybe you boys for doing the broadcast. That's always epic.
You're always welcome for that, and we always love getting feedback on that and told we do a good job. So absolutely, you're welcome back in the booth. So make sure to get another podium or a win.
I'll be going for it.
No, congratulations on that top 3 finish, mate. Well done. Really strong race from yourself there. Next up, we will head to second place man in the race and chase contender, Andrew Dyson. Mr. Dyson, congratulations on getting into the chase, first of all, and congratulations on the P2 here at Darlington.
Thank you, man. Thanks for both those things. Yeah, it's good to be back, actually. It's been a while since I've been in the booth, so thanks for having me back again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I mean, we don't get you enough in the booth these days. It seems like forever since we last got to talk to you in any series. But another strong night tonight, and again, on the oval things, you're getting stronger and stronger.
Oh, we all are, I think, and so is everybody else out there as well. It's not just us. I mean, this league is getting more and more competitive all the time, so that's great fun.
So I've got to ask as well, were you playing a little bit of tail gunner to Mr. Pearson, or were you racing for that win tonight?
Well, when I was behind him, it was tail gunner. When I wasn't, I was trying to have a go. But I had a little bit of a rub with the fence a couple of times, had a little bit of a rub with Ed, and that kind of gave my car a little bit of damage. So I didn't think I was going to be on for a podium tonight, but as it transpired, with a few things that happened, particularly that second last restart, we got a bit lucky there and managed to snag a podium. So it's cool.
Yeah, I imagine that second to last restart, it would have been a little bit of a brown alert, especially for Mr. Worley a little bit further back in that pack. But it's never fun when you see a car going sideways at the start of the field.
Yeah, it was pretty hairy because I could just hear this thing next to me that's revving up to the RPM was like 9,500 RPM, and I'm just thinking, I'm going to cop it in the rear here. Oh my goodness, but yeah, luckily I got away with it. But it was a real shame, we didn't want to see all the guys, go 150 laps and just have it to end that way. So it was a bit of a shame, a bit of an anticlimax to the end of the race, I guess. But there's a few more races to go yet, so anything can happen.
Absolutely, but you were pretty much second on pace as well. You've been running up there pretty much all night, of course, qualified in third place. So it definitely, again, a strong performance from yourself. Are you finding these sort of mid tracks to be suiting you quite well now?
Oh, I've always enjoyed this track. Probably should have done a little bit better here last time we were here earlier in the season. So I guess I kind of expected to at least be up there and get a good result. But I enjoy all the shorter tracks, 100%.
Congratulations on the P2, Andrew Dyson for DPR, and of course in the chase this is going to help you out immensely.
Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to the next few races. Should be a heap of fun, and thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to all the guys at ANZCAR, and thanks to all the boys in the team tonight.
Thank you so much, Andrew Dyson there. Next up, we will head to the race winner, the pole sitter, the fastest lap owner, and the most laps led, Neil Pearson. You kind of did it all tonight.
I did. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my result in the end. Yeah.
You can't do much better than that, really, can you?
No, you can't, but it wasn't as easy. I really struggled with the car in the first couple of stints. I just couldn't get the balance right with my line, and that's when Hamish was able to get past me towards the end of the second one. I was just too loose there. And in the first stint, I just absolutely killed the right front. I'm going to put it down to I ran an open set race here on Saturday night, and I was running those lines. But I eventually came good, thankfully, in the last stint, and was managed to, just able to keep it under me, and it felt really good at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, it did look a little bit of a handful in the early stages for you, because we did notice on the stream that you were struggling a little bit, just getting a few of the old Darlington stripes on there as well. That explains a lot of it to us already, so I don't even need to ask a question now.
Yeah. That first off, I think I had the front down to about 41%. So I was like, ooh, and Daiso was saying his is at like 70. So I'm like, ooh, something's not good here. So luckily I was able to rectify it a little bit, well, a lot. And yeah, it came good to me at the end.
No, look, a fantastic drive, a really strong performance. And, well, you started off strong with the season openers, of course. You've had a very strong season all in all. 4th win of the year for yourself, and of course, 1st win in the chase as well. How are you feeling for the rest of this chase now coming up? I mean, you must be feeling pretty happy going into it, getting such a dominating performance.
I'm pretty happy with this race. Hamish, I think, had the pace on me, but for some reason he had a brain fade. I don't know why he did what he did, but he did, and it cost him some stuff. But yeah, I think there's some tracks coming up that really suit me. There's one or two that don't, that I'm going to struggle with, but all I can do is just go out and do the best that I can and just see how it goes, you know?
Not a problem. Look, I'm sure we will have you back in the booth very shortly. Congratulations on tonight. And if you could go through your sponsors for tonight, being that it's a DPR 123, we didn't want to have to get you guys repeating yourselves too much. So let loose, Mr. Pearson. Give those sponsors a great shout out. They deserve it tonight.
Well, first off, I'd just like to thank ANZCAR guys for running this series all year long. You know, we're getting into the last third of the series, so it's coming down to the wire. FGM eCars for the great broadcast. Can't wait to go watch it. And then we get into simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoist, BenMax Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, Alcoholder, Phoenix Smokers, and NP Designs. And last but not least, just the boys, you know, just for, just having fun and doing everything we can to try and be competitive. And, you know, it's our first top 3 lockout that's not a road course. And it feels pretty good to do that. You know, I think we're all pretty happy. So,
yeah, big congratulations. Few teams have actually managed the top 3 lockout. And as you say, you've been very strong on the road courses. A little bit unsurprisingly, you're a self-confessed road course specialist, but you have really got it together on the ovals now, and that is a dangerous thing for everybody else because you are really going to take it to them. Congratulations to all 3 of you, and I'm sure we'll catch you back in the booth soon.
Yeah, hopefully see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Stuart, Darlington is done. We are heading off to Richmond next, of course. So, slightly different raceway, slightly different track. What do we think we're going to see from the chase this year?
Well, hopefully more of what we saw tonight, to be brutally honest. I mean, what a great finish. Obviously, there'll be a couple who will be frustrated with how things went for them tonight, but I mean, that just opens things up for the rest of the series. The DPR guys have laid down the challenge, and it's clear and in plain view what everyone needs to do.
Very much so, and this does open things up for the chase a little bit as well. So those guys that didn't have the night that they were expecting, it's going to shake things up a little bit. And some of the usual contenders, you know, people like Josh Mickelmore, they're going to be a little bit disappointed. And of course, Luke Traher, it's going to be frustrating, but it's not over. This is just the first round, and there are still 9 more races to go in the chase. So it is by no means over and done with yet, but this is the perfect start for Neil Pearson and Andrew Dyson.
Well, I can't remember a broadcast that we've done, Carl, where I've mentioned Josh Micklemore's name any less than tonight in the entire nearly year and a half that I've been streaming ANZCAR. So it was certainly an unusual one, and you got to make bank when you can with talent like that having an off night, and even, you know, with Foster there at the end and Traher as well. It helps out. Even people like Matty Ray finding it difficult tonight. So, you know, there's the usual suspects that we see at that tail end of the race just weren't there. So there's plenty of opportunity for everyone else to get up and get involved. And it just shows you, as Daiso said, just how competitive it is when you're talking about those guys being out, letting the talents like Jason Martin and people get up towards the front of the field as well. There's lots to come. Lots and lots to come from the chase. We've got 9 races to go, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that one. We will hopefully be having the interviews as well. We'll be doing those throughout the season, so we hope you look forward to more of those coming. We had to cut this one a little bit short because we mistimed it, but the rest of that interview will be played out next week. I'm pretty sure we'll get everything sorted out for that one, but we will be going through the chase contenders one by one and letting you guys know a little bit more about them as well. So we hope you enjoy that. Would like any feedback, just let me know, because I'm always up for that kind of thing. But as always, a big thank you to everybody that joined us tonight. And if you could give a little bit of a like and a subscribe and a follow and all those kind of things that everybody says on every single stream and YouTube channel, it does help an enormous amount because it helps the algorithm, it helps us reach more people. And the more people we reach, the more people that get to see this and the more people that get to enjoy it. So a big thank you to you guys for coming to watch us.
Absolutely, and as always, we'll be back on Monday night. This ends our week, our first full week back. I can tell you what, I'm feeling it. It's certainly been a long one, but we're going to be back with the trucks on Monday night out to Milwaukee for 100 laps there, and looking forward to bringing that one across the line. Of course, back on Tuesday with the Oz Pro Am Sim Series, the last third of that season is brought to us. There's been a small change there as well. We were going to head to Chicago, but that's been changed to Le Mans on the back of it just not fitting the number of cars that are still in that series at this late stage of the season. So we're there and then back with Xfinity and, of course, back here on Thursday night. So another full week coming up for FGM eCast as we rapidly move our way, can you believe it, Carl, in towards the tail end of the commentary year. We've got 9 or so weeks to go before we're on the long summer break. So anyway, be that as it may, do jump in and join us for that, and we will be back here on Monday night to bring you all things pace related on FGM eCast, your e-place for pace. And to those who join us tonight, thank you very much, and we will catch you then.